Maybe you're curious how hacks are made in video games or World of Warcraft in particular. Let's have a very quick little intro on how computers work or exactly how the programs on them work. Let's say that you were a hacker. So you'd have a program over here, and this box symbolizes the space within the memory of your computer where your program is executing. So this can be hacks. And then you have the World of Warcraft client, and that would be symbolized by this other box, which can say WoW. Now, within this client, in different spots, there'll be things such as maybe your character data. So we can put char here. Perhaps there is something involving your ability for characters to move, so movement, and the abilities for you to cast. Now, not all of this should be available to you if you're an add-on programmer. Most likely this stuff here, the character data, that's stuff that you're able to access, but you don't want to let people access character movement or casting functionalities within the client. You might wonder why that exists within the client, but it could make a lot of sense. These characters do need to actually do things, and when you press the buttons and the application actually senses that you're pressing them, under the hood, it's going to be invoking this cast code, and then this code is actually going to communicate to some Blizzard server, I don't know, over in California or whatever, and then it's going to actually process all that information and then send data back to your client telling you what you should show on your screen. So I hope that makes some sense to you so far. If you wanted to be able to, let's say, hack World of Warcraft and you want to be able to cast spells with your add-ons that are within the game, what could you do? Well, you could find out the location of World of Warcraft. So now you have the location of WoW inside of your hacks. And now you need to find out, well, where within it is this cast stuff? That'd be called the offset. So pretend that you're able to read through a program like a book, and you can turn the pages, and if you know which page to go to, you can access any data you want. So in this case, maybe the offset is equal to, let's see, 0 is the first one, this can be 1, 2. So now you know that there's an offset, so you do the location of WoW plus offset of 2 plus 2, and now this is actually equal to the location within your computer where the code to cast abilities is. Interesting. So now this code can be actually executed from within your hacks. Now, why would you then need any add-ons? Well, really, these cast things, it's similar to the other publicly available functions that you could use legally for add-ons. In this case, the hacks here are going to then enable your add-on that is within the game to receive these commands. And so that is the reason why games don't really put a whole lot of add-ons in them anymore. It makes this very complex security situation, and Blizzard does try to make this hard. Something you can do is, you see here how there's different offsets, 0, 1, and 2. When you're actually playing World of Warcraft, these are getting shifted around. So while you're playing the game, the client is actually moving the data around within the application at all times to make it much harder to locate. And also, when you do stuff like cast a spell, Blizzard isn't simply casting the spell immediately. It's also going to tack on some data with it. So maybe when spells are cast, it sends a little code. Maybe the code's A, B, A. And so what the server's actually getting here is A, B, A, and then some cast data. If you're writing hacks, you need to update this prefix all the time. If you don't, then what might happen is a patch comes out and you don't turn off your bot application's service because people subscribe to a service for a bot. You don't actually purchase the code and own it forever because it would be worthless after a patch, because maybe after this next patch, Blizzard decides, all right, we're going to make this little prefix be AA. And so then they see you sent this, which was valid last week, but is no longer valid, and then you get a ban. So this is part of the cat and mouse game that hackers and developers are playing against each other. And this is a bit oversimplified. If you have legitimate interest in trying to hack applications, I suggest that you go read some Microsoft docs on how to get access to an other program's memory space. It's not super hard. I was trying to do it before. I can quickly show you just a little bit of code for a toy project I was working on. This little bit here, what it lets me do is there's a game called Crab Game, and I wanted to see how hard it would be to make a hack for it. My idea was to make a hack that could detect other people going out of bounds and then knock them off the server. So like an anti-hacker hack, because I don't really like griefing people. And all this code took a while to figure out what to do, but basically you have to find the window. This would be WoW. Then you're able to get this actual process ID, and then you'll be able to start finding the locations of the actual applications and writing to them. This last bit here, this address with this offset, this is the location, or you can say the page within the game, Crab Game, that lets you change the number that shows the FPS value. Yes, so all this code here, all it let me do was change what the FPS value was shown as. It wouldn't even change the actual render speed for the game. Kind of interesting, total pain in the ass, but if you're ever interested in that, you gotta learn how the Windows API works.